It's no secret RPGs are still and will always be one of the most beloved genres when it comes to video games. And even though 2022 is still wildly unsettled, there's no doubt a few role-playing gems are coming next year. Hey there friends, it's Codiak here. Welcome to Legacy Gaming. Today, we're sharing 9 RPGs you can't afford to miss in 2022. Pokemon has always been a staple of Nintendo's repertoire, and after the release of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, Game Freak is bouncing right back with a brand new 3D adventure for the Switch. Your adventure is set in the expansive Hisui region in an age long ago, when it was rare for people in Pokemon to live in close harmony. You might actually know the land as its modern name, Sinnoh. Mount Coronet stands at the center, surrounded on all sides by distinct environments, each providing a unique habitat for a variety of different Pokemon. The team behind the game is making some different design decisions, most notably the ability to use mounts on the ground, in the air, and to move across bodies of water. 2 distinct styles of combat variables are also coming to the game. Pokemon can use a move in the Agile style, which boosts its speed but reduces its power. On the flip side, you have Strong style, which increases the move's power but reduces speed. For the first time ever, crafting is also coming to Pokemon, which will allow you to create things like Pokeballs, a system long awaited finally being introduced. Pokemon Sword and Shield set the foundation for the modern Pokemon experience, but Pokemon Legends Arceus looks to take that formula and build upon it even more. Horizon Forbidden West continues the story of Aloy, a young huntress of the Nora tribe sent on a quest to the arcane frontier known as the Forbidden West. In this near-future post-apocalyptic adventure, you'll travel the western United States exploring iconic locations in California, Utah, and Nevada. Aloy's quest is to find the source of a mysterious plague that kills anyone it infects. She'll travel across hostile lands ravaged by storms and taken over by dangerous enemy tribes, and as always, deadly machines. Much of the game's action-adventure combat and exploration is back, but with some new modifications. The most prevalent new feature is the introduction of underwater exploration. Players will be able to uncover mysteries beneath the surface of lakes, seas, and rivers. The game's combat is also getting a major facelift, and the developers Guerrilla Games are exploring a number of ways to give players more freedom when it comes to approaching combat scenarios. With more intricate melee combat, revamped climbing mechanics, and additional exploration options in the form of new tools at Aloy's disposal, Horizon Forbidden West is shaping up to be a fantastic sequel to the original game. It's hard to have a conversation about the biggest games of 2022 without bringing up Elden Ring. The game is set to make its debut on February 25th, and as I'm sure you no doubt know, this one is going to be big. In Elden Ring, you play as a Tarnished, a banished soldier called back to the lands between. This is a role-playing game stripped down to its most classic form. You create a character, pick a class that pushes you towards one particular playstyle, then venture out into the world, unraveling a dark and mysterious story, taking on challenging bosses, and of course, leveling up and claiming new gear in the process. While the latest installment being created by From Software is technically an open-world game, it's impossible to argue that the game isn't an RPG at heart, and with so much inspiration pulled from Dark Souls 3, I can say wholeheartedly that this will be the RPG everyone is talking about come the end of February. After playing nearly 20 hours of the game during the network test, we have a lot of nuanced thoughts we put together in another video here on the channel, so give that a watch if you're interested in Elden Ring. Square Enix is jumping back into the tactical RPG space with Triangle Strategy. Command a group of warriors as 3 nations battle for control over the world's dwindling resources of salt and iron. Make key choices that bolster one of 3 convictions: utility, morality, and liberty, that directly influence how the story unfolds. Listen to your companions and make crucial decisions that will dictate the fate of the whole nations and the continent of Norzelia itself. Triangle Strategy will feel immediately familiar to fans of old-school tactic strategy games, but the HD 2D twist gives the developers the freedom to really stretch their wings and deliver a much more intricate combat experience. Battlefields are much more intricate and varied, and give players the option to attack in a multitude of ways. Additionally, elemental chain reactions are an important part of combat. Using fire attacks to melt ice and then lightning to electrocute the water is just one example of how your environment plays an important part in the combat within the game. A demo for Triangle Strategy was actually released early in 2021, and the developers have made a number of changes and tweaks based on the feedback of over 25,000 community members. The future is bright, and if you're a fan of turn-based action strategy with a deep story and character-building RPG elements, this is a game you'll definitely want to check out. If you're someone interested in a Final Fantasy spin-off loosely set in the world of the original Final Fantasy game, you might want to check out Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. Being created by Team Ninja, the developers behind Nioh, Stranger of Paradise could loosely be considered a Final Fantasy RPG with Nioh-inspired combat. It's a dark take on the original Final Fantasy world, and as Jack Garland, a man consumed with the need to destroy chaos, it's your job to bring balance to the world and cleanse the 4 world crystals. I think the real selling point with this game is the combat. The Nioh-style action plays incredibly fast, and given that there are over 20 jobs in the game dictated by the weapons that you use, it opens up a whole host of possible playstyles. From what we know of the game, you can have 2 jobs equipped at one time and switch between them as you work to deplete the enemy's break gauge and unleash a powerful crystallizing attack. If you're someone that resonates more with the Final Fantasy stories, we'll expect to be taken for a bit of a ride on this one. Things are a bit more out there and sometimes downright cringy, but given the wild premise of the game, a group of warriors pulled in from another world to vanquish evil, I'd say it all kind of works. Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin is set to release in March 2022. If you are a fan of lighter fantasy RPG experiences, you might be interested in Rune Factory 5. Since the introduction of Harvest Moon all those years ago, developers have found new and innovative ways to combine life on the farm with fantasy dungeon diving. Rune Factory 5 looks to continue to build upon the legacy it established in the early 2000s. Players will explore a new frontier town, Rigbarth, and as a member of a peacekeeping organization, Seed, will protect the town from monsters. Rune Factory looks to combine multiple combat systems, but primarily leans into the action combat it's known for. In a new twist, while adventuring, you can tame monsters and bring them back to the farm to help with the day-to-day operations. With monsters tending the fields, you'll be free to enjoy some of the more casual and social aspects of the game, like cooking, crafting, and fishing contests, as well as build relationships and eventually marry someone from the town. Rune Factory 5 has undergone a number of developmental hurdles, but after the original company went bankrupt and multiple delays pushed the release date back further down the road, the game looks to finally be getting its release in March 2022. Bethesda is taking us to space, at least that's what they say. Starfield is set to be the first new world created by the company in over 25 years, offering players unparalleled freedom to explore the vast reaches of the beyond. There's no doubt the audience is there to snap up a great space RPG, but with so few gameplay details released, it's a bit more challenging to get excited about this title. From the concept art, we've seen things look ambitious, with all manner of spacecrafts racing players off to the distant and wild horizons of vast and varied worlds. And if there's one studio with the resources and knowledge to pull it off, it's Bethesda. The game is set to launch in November 2022, and with less than a year before that date, I'd imagine details are going to start flying at us. It's only a matter of time before we hop in a rocket and set off for the stars. I've been saying it for years. The Harry Potter world is perfect for an RPG. While there have been a few attempts to take the Wizarding world and turn it into a game, none have managed to capture the masses for long. Enter Hogwarts Legacy, a completely unique adventure set in the 1800s. While much of the game's details are still a mystery, we know a few key things. One is that you'll create a custom character that you'll bring into Hogwarts as you attend classes, master the art of potions and spellcasting, and explore an ancient secret only you can unlock. The game's one trailer has garnered tens of millions of views across multiple channels, and for good reason. The game looks gorgeous, and with so many different possibilities, I think it's hope that brings us all to believe this game is going to finally be the one. The team creating Hogwarts Legacy has been incredibly quiet as of late, but with 2021 almost over, I have no doubt new information about Hogwarts Legacy is right around the corner. I wish I had more details about our final game on the list, but truth is, Forspoken is just one of those titles we still know very little about. Being created by Luminous Productions, a subsidiary of Square Enix, the game follows Frey, a New Yorker that finds herself magically transported to a strange new world. With the guidance of a magical cup, she's able to tap into mystical abilities that give her all sorts of powers, including the ability to traverse the world at blistering speeds. From the few trailers and images we've seen of the game, the high fantasy vibe is in full effect, as you'll often come face to face with mystical creatures and landscapes that look pulled straight from your favorite fantasy worlds. We don't have any real understanding how the RPG elements will coalesce, but from what we can infer, there are a multitude of systems that could easily be modified and augmented, specifically the spell casting. The game has a lot of promise, and with an early 2022 release date slated, I expect we'll learn much more about this game very soon. So there you have it, some of the biggest RPGs being released in 2022. You might be wondering why games like Avowed aren't on the list, and simply put, that's because there's just no information hinting at a 2022 release date. That could all change in the near future, but we'll save that for future videos. All that in mind, RPGs are still one of the most played genres in video games today, and with some serious gaps in the calendar, I have no doubt that new and exciting titles will pop up and hope to break through to the mainstream. While we won't be playing all of these games next year, putting videos like this together take a lot of time and effort. So if you appreciate the work we're doing here at Legacy Gaming, we'd appreciate your support. Hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing. It's still the single best way to help channels like ours reach new audiences. You can also join us on Discord. We've got a great group of around 7,000 members spread across dozens of great games, so check out the link below and join today. Finally, if you like everything we're doing here on the channel and you'll want to support us even more, you can do so by becoming a member. For just a couple bucks, you're helping evolve the channel and take our community to that next level. Check out the join button below to learn more. My name is Codiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.